Assalamualaikum to Media Hafiza. Today I want to explain about the road to become valuer for Encik Gibran, who has graduated with bachelor's degree in real estate from a university in the United Kingdom, having completed his study in 2022. Although he has a strong academic background from abroad, he must still go through several steps, including recognition of his degree by BOVEP, registration as a probationary valuer, a minimum of 2 years of practical training, and successful passing the test of professional competence. After that, Encik Gibran can apply authority to practice from the board. Within the increased number of Malaysian students pursuing real estate related study overseas, many graduates are returning to Malaysia to build their professional careers. However, they must go through a specific road known as a direct entry to become registered valuers. This route is designed to maintain the high standard and compliance with local law and professional requirement. This pathway is not only essential to ensure professionalism and credibility in the valuation field, but also serve as a useful guide student who has aspired to return and contribute to the local property industry.
Hello, today I will explain the two main routes to enter the Test of Professional Competence or TPC for valuers in Malaysia. The first route is direct entry pathways for locals and overseas graduates. For local graduates, candidate must have an SPM certificate and a bachelor's degree in estate management, property valuation, or a similar field from a university recognized by the board. For overseas graduates, candidates need an SPM or 2 A levels along with a recognized degree in real estate or its equivalent accredited by the minister and the board. After completion their degree, local graduates need at least 2 years of supervised practical experience under a registered valuer recorded in a work diary, logbook, and record of experience for 104 weeks. Overseas graduates must prove that they have worked under registered valuation firm overseas for 2 years, and if approved by the board, they may complete only 1 year of supervised experience in Malaysia, making a total of 3 years experience. After gaining practical experience, all candidates will undergo the TPC, which includes an interview testing professional ethics and work experience. The interview will be held 6 times a year with result released within 45 days. Once candidates have completed their degree and practical experience with the required document, they may register with the registrar to apply for the TPC. The second route is through working experience, or for non-graduates, candidates must be at least 27 years old with a minimum of 7 years in an industry experience. They must prove they have worked full-time in valuation or have assisted valuers for 5 years to qualify for the direct final examination. Lecturers can also apply with 3 years of teaching experience and 1,600 of part-time supervised valuation practice or 6 months of full-time supervised work under registered valuer. Candidates then apply for recognition of prior learning where the board assess their skill and may require additional course in advanced valuation or property law if needed. They must submit a work diary, logbook, 2 practical tasks, and records of experience signed weekly and monthly. After completing 2 years of supervised experience, candidates will pass the first intermediate and direct final exam. These pathways ensure valuers in Malaysia meet the professional standards set by the board while maintaining the integrity of the profession. Thank you.
Hi, salam sejahtera everyone. I'm Brandon. Today I'll be presenting on the key legal provision under Act 242 that are relevant to Encik Gibran, a graduate from the UK who is seeking to become registered valuer in Malaysia. This involves understanding the relevant section, rules and schedules that related. For the relevant section, let's start with the key section. Under Section 6, the Director General can require applicants like Encik Gibran to submit relevant documents and such as qualification, past experience, and taxation record. This ensures the board can properly assess his application. Section 10 outlines the function of the board. They maintain the register valuer, evaluate and decide on registration application, and carry out disciplinary proceeding. This section is crucial as it defines how Gibran application will be processed and regulated. For relevant schedule, next is the first schedule. While it doesn't directly affect Encik Gibran, it highlights who can and cannot serve as a board member. For instance, someone who is bankrupt or mentally unfit is disqualified. This reinforces the integrity of the board overseeing the profession. For relevant rules, now moving to the most practical part, the rules that guide the registration process. The first rule is the Rule 17. Require Encik Gibran to submit the correct forms and the certified copies of his foreign qualification. It ensures his documents are formally recognized. And for the Rule 18, explain how the board will review his application, including his qualification and experience. This is the key decision-making phase. Once reviewed, Rule 19 ensures that Gibran is notified of the result, whether he is approved, rejected, or need to submit more documents. It's important he stay responsive during this step. For final registration and restatement, if Encik Gibran successful, Rule 20 require Gibran to pay registration and practicing fees. Rule 21 then grants him the official authority to practice as a valuer in Malaysia. The final milestone. Lastly, Rule 25 covers reinstatement. If for any reason his registration is revoked or lapsed, maybe due to non-compliance, this rule allows him to reapply. It's an important safeguard for his long-term career. In summary, Encik Gibran prior to registration structured and well-defined under Act 242. Each section and rule plays a vital role in ensuring transparency, professional and accountability in the valuation profession in Malaysia. Thank you.
Professional competence and valuers examination. First, valuers examination. The valuers examination is a three-stage process: first, second, and final exam that assesses the academic and practical knowledge of a person who wants to become a valuer in Malaysia. The purpose of the examination is to ensure that the candidate has a strong foundation in valuation knowledge and meets the academic requirement set by the board. It prepares the candidate to understand and apply valuation principles in the Malaysian context. For example, Mr. Gibran, who graduated with a Bachelor of Real Estate from the UK in 2022, has already passed all three stages of the valuer examination because he holds a recognized bachelor degree in real estate. Test of professional competence. The TPC before a candidate can be registered as a registered valuer. It is an interview-based assessment that evaluates the candidate's practical experience and professional readiness. The TPC that the candidate is competent to carry out valuation work independently and professionally. It tests the candidate's understanding of ethics, valuation practice, and professional responsibilities. For example, after completing his 2-year training and submitting his logbook and sample reports, Mr. Gibran attends the TPC interview where a panel evaluates his valuation work and professionalism. If he passes he becomes a registered valuer in Malaysia.
Hi, my name is Amanina, and now I will explain the final stage in the journey to becoming a registered valuer in Malaysia, which is the final registration and authority to practice, commonly referred to as ATP. Step 1. Certificate of registration. The first step is receiving the certificate of registration, which is awarded after completing the test of professional competence or TPC. To be eligible, the candidates must complete 2 years of supervised training, submit a work diary logbook or carry out 2 valuation tasks, complete a record of experience, and pass a final interview with Board of Valuer panel. Once they are successfully completed and approved by the board, the individual will be officially issued a certificate of registration under Section 19 and Section 20 of Act 242. This certificate allows the person to use the title registered valuer, but it is important to note that they are not allowed yet to practice independently. For that, they must proceed to the second step, obtaining the ATP. Step 2. Authority to practice ATP. The authority to practice is a legally license that gives the valuer the full right to sign official valuation report, offer service to client independently, and run or join a valuation firm. This process is governed under Section 16 of Act 242. To qualify for ATP, the candidate must hold a valid certificate of registration, apply to Board of Valuer using the official form, pay the annual ATP licensing fee, be in good professional standing with no disciplinary action, and fulfill any extra requirements such as professional indemnity insurance if it required. Without the ATP, even a registered valuer cannot legally practice on their own. Legal probation summary. This entire process is supported by the specific legal reference such as Section 16, Section 19, Section 20, and also Rule 33.6.
Next, I will walk you through the direct entry route for Encik Gibran as an overseas graduate to become a registered value in Malaysia under Bovia. First, Encik Gibran must ensure that his degree is recognised by Bovia. If his university isn't on the approved list, he needs to submit his academic document for evaluation. This step ensures that his qualification meet the Malaysian professional standard. Second, once recognised, he must register as a probationary valuer. This officially starts his professional journey. He will also need to apply for the test of professional competence or TPC, which is final assessment before becoming fully registered. Third, he must undergo at least 2 years of supervised training under a registered valuer in Malaysia. During this period, he must gain exposure in at least 3 key areas such as valuation of landed properties, rating and local taxation, and property management. This stage is crucial for building real-world experience. Fourth, while training, he must maintain a work diary and logbook documenting a minimum of 104 weeks or 1,600 hours of practical work. This record later reviewed by the board to verify his exposure and learning progress. Fifth, he must successfully pass the TPC, which include both a written and oral examination. The oral exam, conducted by a panel of senior valuers, assesses not just technical knowledge but also ethical judgment and professional conduct. And finally, upon passing the TPC, Encik Gibran may register as full valuer with Bovia. He can then practice independently, use professional titles such as valuer or property consultant, and must always uphold the Malaysian valuation standard and ethical code of conduct. In conclusion, this direct entry route provides a structured and rigorous pathway that ensures all valuers, regardless of where they studied, are competent, ethical, and ready to contribute to Malaysia's property sector.
In conclusion, the process of becoming a registered valuer is not merely a bureaucratic requirement, but a professional development journey guided by legal, ethical and academic standards. For Encik Gibran, a graduate with a recognized real estate degree from the United Kingdom, the direct entry route provides a structured and efficient pathway to attain professional status in Malaysia. Through this route, it must complete 2 years of supervised training, maintain a work diary and a logbook, and pass the test of professional competence TPC, which include valuation tasks, a record of experience ROE, and an interview. After fulfilling this requirement and receiving board approval, he is eligible to be registered under Section 19 or 20 of Act 242. To practice independently and legally, he must also obtain the authority to practice ATP under Section 916. Compared to the alternative working experience route, the direct entry pathway is more suitable for academically qualified candidates like Encik Gibran. This report has shown that becoming a registered valuer requires not only academic achievement, but also practical experience and regulatory compliance. For Encik Gibran, this journey signifies the culmination of his qualification and commitment to professional ethics, enabling him to contribute meaningfully to Malaysia's valuation industry with full legal recognition and professional credibility.